Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. Alan Ritchson, best known as his roles as Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State. He is currently Reacher in the Amazon Prime series. He was one of the Turtles in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles live action movies. He has been petitioning to be Batman for a long time. Not as much as fans have been petitioning for him to be Batman, me being one of them, because I love the yoked jack Batman. I know a lot of people have problems with it because Batman is supposed to be a mixed martial artist that is able to triple roundhouse kick people in the face and jump off buildings and glide and be kind of majestic and graceful, if you will. And Alan Ritchson is such a big dude that he can't really pull off that kind of combat. And I'm okay with that if it was like a Dark Knight Returns kind of combat where he just pummels dudes into the ground. But a lot of people want the more traditional Batman, and that's fine. It's all subjective. However, apparently during a recent interview, Alan Ritchson himself has said that he has had conversations with James Gunn about not only Batman, but the overall DC universe. In his interview, he said, although he had the conversation about Batman, he strongly does not think he is going to be Batman, which means that James Gunn probably is in line with people thinking like this dude needs to be cut, he needs to be shredded, but he can't be a tank of a person because he needs to be able to have the fluidity that a Batman has, like in the Arkham series. But what he did say was he can almost guarantee you that he does have a future in DC to some capacity. And I thought it would be fun to kind of go over a couple people that I think Alan Ritchson could play in the DC universe. My third choice of who I would want Alan Ritchson to play in the new DC universe under James Gunn might be a little controversial because we just had this character in the original DCU that was started by Zack Snyder, but I think that he would make a great iteration of this character, and I think that the character proved to be popular enough that James Gunn probably wants to bring him in at some point, and that's Shazam. The thing that Zachary Levi's version got wrong for me, even though I loved Zachary Levi as Shazam, I thought he was an excellent adult playing a child, and I thought his humor and his personality and his acting was great. A child, when they imagine themselves as a superhero, would imagine themselves to be the size of the Hulk. Let's be real. When I was little and I wanted to be a superhero, I wanted to be the most muscular person on the planet flying around and beating up bad guys. And it was always kind of unbelievable to me that they would make this kid want to be a superhero but put him in a person's body that isn't just like this hulking beast. And granted, there aren't a lot of actors out there like The Rock that could do that. And they did put a padded suit on Zachary Levi, but you could clearly tell he wasn't actually super muscular. And look, he worked out, he got in shape, but he wasn't this big hulking figure that Shazam is supposed to be in the comics or the cartoons. He's supposed to be almost the same size, if not bigger, than Superman. So I was always kind of curious what it would have been like if we had a bigger version of that. And I think that Alan Ritchson has this boy-like charm where he could play this big hulking superhero that acts like a 14-year-old kid. And I think that he would absolutely nail this role, especially since James Gunn is known for taking actors that don't really have great acting experience, like a John Cena or a David Bautista, and putting them in a role that they really shine in, and I think that this could be perfect for him. The second character I would like to see him play is Hawkman. I mean, we already have a Hawk girl in James Gunn's DCU, so we need a Hawkman, and I think that he has the physical prowess to portray this character, more specifically the one from the Justice League animated series. I always loved Hawkman in that, and I always thought that he never really got a chance to shine. I thought he was excellent in the Black Adam movie, but a different iteration of him could be really cool, specifically the one from the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. I think that he has the physicality of it. I think he has the look. I mean, the dude wears straps instead of a shirt, so at all times his pecs and his abs are just constantly out, kind of like Drax from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And again, there's not a lot of actors that are big enough to portray these cartoon characters brought into life in a realistic way. There's just not a lot of actors that could put on that kind of size and weight for a role like this. So I'd like to see him tackle Hawkman in second. But my first choice is again somebody that we've already had in the DCU, and although I loved their character, it was not the character from the comics or the cartoons that we all know and love. And I'm talking about Aquaman. I'm talking about the Aquaman that sure does look somewhat similar to Jason Momoa because he has a beard and long hair, but I'm talking about the blonde-haired, blue-eyed version with the hook or the harpoon for a hand. That Aquaman is so incredible, and when they originally casted Jason Momoa, I remember being pretty bummed that they weren't going to go in that direction, but he wound up playing it cool, like the cool surfer dude, that dude bro that everyone wants to hang out with that enjoys drinking beers on the side. That's not who Aquaman is, but it was still a fun character that Jason Momoa played, so much so that everyone just forgave the fact that it was a complete departure from what the cartoon or the comic character actually is, which is a stoic king of Atlantis, and we all just enjoyed it for what it was. But I think that Alan Ritchson has the size to be the most formidable warrior of the sea, the king of Atlantis that could command armies of all different types of aquatic animals and creatures, leading them into battle in the name of Atlantis. And also he could be a great stoic mirrored image of Superman, whereas in Superman is the god of land, Aquaman is the god of sea, but they're both kind of these stoic goody two-shoe know-it-alls that just want what's best for their specific kingdoms. And I think that he is the perfect choice for it, not only because he played the character already in Smallville, but because he has the size for it. He can clearly grow the beard for it. He has the stoicness that he could bring over from Jack Reacher. I genuinely think he would be the perfect choice, if not playing Batman. But that is my first choice of who I would want him to play. But what do you guys think? Who do you think Alan Ritchson would be great as? There's a lot of people throwing out Adam, there's a lot of people throwing out Azrael, and there's a lot of people throwing out Bane. You could go the villain route, but I really want to see him as a hero. But what do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.